Hello, everyone, and welcome to Mystic Temple Spirituality for a New Age. I'm Monica Bay, also known as the Divine Mother, and I am here to bring you truth. Okay, so today we are going to dive into the difference between soul consciousness and ego consciousness and why that's important. So first of all, and of course the Book of Rashida has something to say about that. So we're gonna dive into that passage in a moment. But first, I want to explain to you what the difference is between soul consciousness and ego consciousness. For those of you who may not understand that or may not have heard of the term ego consciousness before, we've all heard of consciousness, but so soul consciousness is the awareness, the presence, and the expansion of the actual soul in your vessel. Okay, that's soul consciousness. Ego consciousness is the awareness and expansion of the identity of the that I am. So that is the ego. When we say the word ego, some people get confused, and whenever they hear the word ego, they think of the word egotistical or something that is like arrogant or cocky and things like that. But of course, that is a symptom of the ego. But that is not the ego. The ego itself is the false awareness of you as an individual identity and separate from everything else. The ego is where we experience trauma. The ego is where we self sabotage. The ego is where we start to create negativity around us. The ego is where we start to control things. That is through the ego. Through the soul, it's something completely different. And so, why we're talking about that today is because it's important for you to understand the difference between soul consciousness and ego consciousness, so that one, when you are experiencing and when you're moving from one or the other, and also because the ego actually um, prevents the soul from doing a lot of the things it needs to do. So first of all, for those of you who are into, okay, I've been trying to do ego death, ego death, ego death. That's like a buzzword out there, okay? I am not necessarily a proponent of ego death. I am a proponent of ego um, uh, suppression at when it needs to be suppressed, but understanding that we are whole beings for a reason. We are here to experience a human experience in these physical bodies for a reason. We are also here to elevate spiritually while we are in these physical bodies. And we're also meant to awaken from the illusion and away from the ego. But the ego is there for a reason. The ego does serve a purpose in our evolution and in our life. But it's really, really necessary that we are not moving from our ego, and instead we are moving from our soul, because that is when we are able to really experience, we experience a better human experience when we do it that way. And you guys know I am all about having a better human experience, okay? Because this isn't just about being all in the clouds and talking about spirituality. Yes, spirituality, we are spiritual beings, but we are also in this physical existence, and we are supposed to be enjoying this physical existence as much as we can. Suffering is a part of it, but for the most part, we create our own suffering. And how do we create our own suffering? It's through the ego. So we're going to dive into the passage that is it's a little cryptic today, but we're going to go through it. We're going to dive into the passage, and it is as follows. The soul reaches high. It does not need our help. Consciousness negates the soul's power. Let the power be yours, flowing through this version of you into the world of new. Okay, now, and as always, there are layers and layers of meaning to this, but it's pretty obvious from what I just said. So when it says the soul reaches high, it doesn't need our help. The ego thinks that it needs to control everything. The ego thinks that it needs to oh my God, I have to control the way this goes. I have to control the outcome of this. Blah 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 blah. The ego is driven by fear. The ego is driven by desires and fears of the lack of achieving those desires and all of these things. And then we feel like we have to control everything in our life. The soul does not need our help to manifest the things in our life that it needs to manifest. The soul does not need our control, the ego consciousness to lead us down our path. So this passage is really talking about letting go and surrendering to the soul consciousness. And so I see this all the time as I help people, as I heal people, and a lot of times their ego is really getting in the way, especially when I see people who have a lot of spiritual gifts and power and have this amazing life path that they're supposed to be having, but they're not having it because they have not taken the right actions and they have not gone down the right paths because they are letting the ego drive them. And I always talk about letting your soul be in the driver's seat. And a lot of times your soul's in the trunk, not even a passenger. So this passage is yet another reminder that it's really important that you allow your soul to drive you and let go of the need to control every single thing on your path. Be in flow. Yes, we should manifest. Yes, we should go after our dreams and do what it is that we want to do. It's not when I say let go and surrender, I'm not talking about complete like la 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 la, who cares what happens? That's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about you literally letting your soul be in the driver's seat. When you're driving, are you just completely, we're not talking about a self-driving car. We're talking about you still steering it, okay? You steering it are your manifestations. You steering it are your actions that you're taking towards those dreams that you have and towards those inner callings. And that's the key. When your soul is driving you, you are being driven by your inner calling. You're not being driven by all the fluff out here in this illusion that makes you think you're achieving something when you're really actually bringing yourself backwards. And that happens a lot. And I know I'm talking to someone right now, many of you. Okay. So are you letting your soul drive you? Are you leading with your soul consciousness versus your ego consciousness? Being aware of that. So, how can you tell the difference? When you are being driven by your soul consciousness, things feel restricted, things feel tight, they feel like, again, time is an illusion, but the ego doesn't know that. So, everything is time constrained. Everything is, oh my God, I have to hurry up. Everything is a stress response. Everything is it literally feel when you if stress was a person, it'd be like this. And that is the ego consciousness. And also the ego consciousness always feels like it has to prove something to people. Oh, this person said I would never amount to anything, so now I have to do this, and that in order to prove to them that I amount to something. What sense does that make? That's ego consciousness. The soul consciousness will say, okay, this person says I'm not going to amount to anything, but they don't actually matter because that's not what I'm here for. I'm here to amount to something, but what I'm here to amount to, not what that person thinks I'm here to amount to. That's the difference between soul consciousness and ego consciousness. So, using that example, when you want to move from soul consciousness, again, that's from inside. That's from a feeling inside. So instead of doing things that people expect you to do or that will impress other people, do what's going to make you feel alive right now. And I know a lot of people right now, especially with everything that's happening in the world, there's a lot of people rethinking careers. There's a lot of people, what is going to make you happy? What is going to fulfill you from deep within? What's going to make you feel alive? That is going to come from the soul, not what is going to make me feel good in the moment because now I have this title or whatever it is. Because trust me, that doesn't do anything. Been there, done that. Okay, doesn't do anything. So when you are moving through everything in life, this is your homework. When you are moving in life, every decision that you make sure you stop and ask yourself, is this coming from my ego or is this coming from my soul? And when you start to really ask yourself those questions in the midst of decisions, it doesn't have to be a big decision either. It could be a small decision, but start practicing that because when you start practicing that, you will actually become more aware and your soul consciousness will gain more strength and power in your life. And trust me, when that happens, your life gets better and better. Your life becomes more and more fulfilled. You become happier and happier. And you stop self sabotaging. You stop doing all the things you know you're not supposed to do because a lot of times when we're moving from the ego, that soul is telling us already, it's sitting on our shoulder, like, you know, you're not supposed to be doing this. You know, this isn't a good idea. But what do? We do it anyway because it feels good in the moment and it feeds our ego. So again, the ego does have its point. It has a purpose in our life, and it is more of a challenge than anything else. But that challenge helps us grow. So the ego is supposed to be there, but is not supposed to be in charge. And that's the key. It's not supposed to be in charge. You are supposed to be in charge. Your soul is supposed to be in charge. So as you're making decisions in your life, as you are reacting to circumstances as well, pay attention to your decisions, pay attention to your reactions to things, and pay attention to your day-to-day thoughts. Are these things coming from your ego, or are they coming from your soul? If they're coming from your soul, you are good. If they're coming from your ego, then you need to start to, okay, what does it feel like to come from my soul in this moment right now? And these things will really start to help you uh, elevate, which is what we're here for. It will start to help you elevate. And here's another thing: pay attention to your body. Your body mirrors what's going on inside of you. So when you are about to respond to someone, you are about to say something in a meeting, you are about to make a decision, pay attention to what your body is doing. Is it tightening? Is it loose and expansive? If it's tightening, your ego is at play. Dive deeper. If it is expanding and relaxing, that's flow. That is the soul. That is soul consciousness coming through, ready to come through. And it's important that when you are speaking your truth, anytime you feel like, oh, I need to speak my truth, my authenticity, all of those things, which you should be doing, make sure that that's really coming from your soul. Make sure that that is soul consciousness coming through. It says, let this power be yours, or let the power be yours, flowing through you, this version of you in this world of new. So remember, we talked about in I don't remember which divinity session that was, where there was one of the passages that we went through where it talked about reincarnation. So this passage is also tapping into that, about reincarnation, this version of you, because you've had many other versions. So remember, your soul itself has come into this version of you for a reason, into this new world. And when they said this world of new, they're referring to this new world that you are currently in, because it's new to you in this instance, in this incarnation. But it's also referring to the new world that's coming, that we are literally creating right now. So let the power be yours. Let the soul power be yours. Don't let the ego consciousness diminish the soul power. Because as you move through this world and in this life and in your body, in your avatar, to accomplish the things you came here to accomplish, your soul needs to be a part of that. Because that's the part that came here. Your ego didn't come here. Your ego was created when when you incarnated. Your ego is not the everlasting. Your soul is the everlasting. So honor your soul, honor your life, honor your purpose, honor your path, and honor your gifts. Don't ever forget your power and who you are. And with that being said, I'm going to speak in the divine language to reiterate everything that I just said, but this is going to be spoken into your soul. Okay. Shishen Vectusos. Shishen Vectusos. Teo Shabriel. Teo Shabriel. Teo Shabicosa. Teo Shapectu. Teo Shabicosa. Teo Shakali. Vizcalen. Teosha. Olo. Teosha Oxo. Teosha. Osha. Teosha. Osha. Eshna Popoeshna Sha. Eshna Popoeshna Sha. Shishen. Eshna Popoeshna Sha. And now I will say in the divine language, peace be unto you, Zor Kunti. And I'll see you next time.
I hear the drum in my chest, boom, boom. The ego's loud, but the soul makes room. Whispers like waves under the moon. moonlight sky. It's a map with no edges, a compass that flies. Do you feel it calling? Do you feel it rise? A rhythm deeper than the world's disguise. Let your soul lead, let it take the wheel. Feel the truth, not what they make you feel. Oh, let it guide you like the stars at night. Soul compass shining in the endless light. I try to climb, but the ladder bent. The ego's coins, but my soul's the same. Gold fades quick, but the essence stays.